The World Cup has a habit of creating stories before a ball is even kicked. Sometimes it's a final, sometimes it's a rivalry, and sometimes it's a group stage match that feels far bigger than a group stage match should. France versus Senegal is one of those games, because on paper, this looks simple. France are ranked number 1 in the world. They have one of the deepest squads in international football. They have world-class players in almost every position. And many people expect them to challenge for the World Cup once again. But World Cups are rarely decided on paper. And if there is one team capable of turning a predictable game into an uncomfortable battle, it's Senegal. This is a nation that has built its reputation on refusing to follow football's script, a nation that has already shocked France once before, and a nation that believes it belongs among football's elite. So the real question isn't whether France are the better team. The real question is whether they can handle the kind of game Senegal wants to play. Because if they can't, their World Cup could begin with serious warning. Before we begin, if you enjoy World Cup previews, football documentaries, and tournament analysis throughout the competition, subscribe to the channel because there are some huge stories still to come. Now let's get into it. When people talk about France, the conversation usually starts with talent, and it's easy to understand why. Kylian Mbappe remains one of the most dangerous players in world football. Every time he receives the ball, defenders panic. Every run changes the shape of a defense. Every touch feels like it could become a goal. But what makes France dangerous isn't just Mbappe. It's everything around him. Michael Ollis, Ousmane Dembélé, Eduardo Camavinga, William Saliba, and a squad packed with players performing at the highest level of European football. That's why most analysts continue to place France among the favorites, because tournament football often comes down to moments, and few teams possess more players capable of producing those moments than France. But here's where the story becomes interesting. The World Cup doesn't always reward the most talented team. Sometimes it rewards a team most comfortable with chaos. And that brings us to Senegal. One analyst described this matchup as a battle between an elegant European machine and African lions who refuse to follow the script. And honestly, that's a pretty good description. Because Senegal don't play football the way France would ideally like them to. They don't always allow games to settle into a rhythm. They don't always allow opponents to control possession comfortably. They make matches physical, fast, emotional, unpredictable. And those qualities have made them one of the strongest football nations in Africa for more than a decade. Think about what Senegal have become. African champions, World Cup veterans, a squad filled with players competing across Europe's biggest leagues. This is not an underdog story anymore. This is a football nation that expects to compete. And that's why this fixture feels so dangerous for France. Because Senegal aren't arriving hoping for a miracle. They're arriving believing they can win, and history gives them reasons to believe. Every World Cup has moments that live forever. For Senegal, one of those moments happened in 2002, the opening game of the tournament. Senegal versus France, the reigning world champions, one of the biggest upsets in football history. Senegal won, and while that result happened a long time ago, its significance remains powerful, not because the players are the same, not because the tactics are the same, but because it proves something. France can be beaten, and Senegal have already done it once before. Of course, football has changed dramatically since then. Modern France is completely different. Modern Senegal is completely different, and relying purely on history would be a mistake. But tournaments are emotional. Memories matter. Belief matters. And nobody enters this match feeling intimidated. That alone tells you how much Senegal has evolved. The bigger question is tactical, because this game isn't simply about quality. It's about styles. France want control. Senegal want disruption. France want structure. Senegal want intensity. France want the game played at their rhythm. Senegal want the game played at nobody's rhythm. That's where players like Sadio Mane become so important, because Mane understands tournament football. He understands pressure. He understands moments. And alongside players like Nicholas Jackson and Pate Madarsar, he gives Senegal a genuine attacking threat. Then there's Kalidou Koulibaly, a defender who has seen almost everything football can throw at him. His leadership will be crucial because eventually France will create chances. The question is how many. And that's where Senegal's defensive organization becomes so important. Several analysts have argued that if Senegal can survive the opening stages of the match, the pressure starts moving toward France. And that's something worth thinking about, because expectation only exists on one side. Nobody will be shocked if Senegal lose. But if France fail to win, the headlines begin immediately. Questions appear immediately. Pressure grows immediately. That's the burden of being one of the tournament favorites. And that burden can become very heavy, especially in a World Cup opener. Quick question. Who are you backing in this one? France or Senegal? If you're enjoying the preview, drop a like on the video because it really helps the channel. Now here's where things become even more fascinating, because many analysts believe Senegal's greatest strength isn't individual talent. It's collective belief. France may have bigger stars, but Senegal often look like a team that genuinely enjoys fighting together, winning together, suffering together. And in tournament football, those qualities can be worth more than people realize. We've seen it before. We've seen talented teams struggle against opponents that simply refuse to break. We've seen favorites become frustrated. We've seen games become emotional. And once that happens, predictions start becoming meaningless. The concern for France isn't Senegal's quality alone. The concern is what happens if the game remains level deep into the second half. What happens when the crowd becomes involved? What happens when pressure starts growing? What happens when every missed chance feels bigger than the one before? That's where World Cups become psychological. And Senegal know exactly how to make opponents uncomfortable. Still, there's a reason France remain favorites. Depth, experience, and match winners. You could defend perfectly for 80 minutes. Then Mbappe gets one opportunity, one run, one mistake from a defender, and suddenly everything changes. That's the difference elite players make. That's why France remain one of the strongest teams in the tournament. And that's why most predictions continue to lean in their favor. Not because Senegal aren't dangerous, but because France possess more ways to win. If the game becomes tactical, France can win. If it becomes technical, France can win. If it becomes individual, France can win. That flexibility matters, especially at a World Cup. So what happens? I think Senegal make this extremely difficult. I think they frustrate France. I think they create chances. And I think they remind the football world exactly why so many people consider them one of Africa's strongest teams. But over 90 minutes, I still trust France's depth. I still trust France's quality. And I still trust France's ability to produce decisive moments. My prediction? France 2, Senegal 1. A close game. A tense game. Possibly one of the best matches of the group stage. But ultimately, I think France find a way through. The bigger question is what this result would mean. Because if France win, they'll immediately strengthen their status as one of the favorites. But if Senegal take points, the entire group changes. And suddenly one of the tournament's biggest stories begins. Let me know your prediction in the comments. Can Senegal shock France once again? Or are we about to watch the start of another serious French World Cup campaign? Because one thing feels certain. This isn't just another group stage game. This feels like a match the football world will remember. And the World Cup is only getting started.